first would like to open with a prayer, so let us pray. Infinite Intelligence, we thank you so much for joining with us today. Allow us to all join together in our hearts and minds as we are looking to increase our knowledge of our wonderful religion of spiritualism, its credentialing process, through the testing process who have not been a member of an NSAC church. So if you are going to be going through the credentialing process, that would be your first step, is become a member in a church, because you are going to need the church board approval, an approval letter from them, along with if you're going for your certified medium or commissioned healer, you will also need affidavits for those. So that will be your first process. Complete the course and make sure you're a member of your church. Now, you must be a member for at least 2 years immediately preceding the application date. What you would do, and you can go online and fill out the application for whichever credential that you are applying. Print that form out. It will need to be taken to your board, your church board. They will vote on it and record it in the minutes. In order to expedite the process, please make sure that every portion of that application is filled out correctly. It needs to be filled out completely and correctly. And the board will sign that it was recorded in the minutes. That way, if there's any question, they can always go back and we can have that evidence of the voting by the board for you to be able to continue your test. Now, if you're going for an NST, you must have been a member in your church for not less than 3 years preceding your application date. So it's a little longer, but if you think about the credentialing process, NSTs kind of have to know everything and they have to be able to teach and present it. So there is an application fee that is required for each credential. There is $100 for the LM, which is licentiate minister, CM, which is certified medium, and CH, which is commissioned healer. For the ordination credential, it is $125. And of course, and the NST is $135. Now, these checks need to be made out to the NSAC, and your church board will submit those to the Department of Education so that I may review the application and make sure it is correct. For those people who are going for commissioned healer or certified medium, you will need to have your course completion certificate from the Morris Pratt Institute. The commissioned healer is lessons, if you're going for your commissioned healer, that will be lessons 1 through 9, 21 through 24, and 28 and 29. The certified medium completion courses will be lessons 1 through 20, 28, and 29. You will need to submit your, like I said, the credential or the certification from Morris Pratt that you have completed those lessons along with your passing grade. Now, if you are going for your LM, OM, or NST, you must take the full course and take the pastoral skills course. This is offered through the Morris Pratt Institute. They have streamlined this so that they can do the first week on Zoom, and then the second week will be in person. And I know that they are working on their next classes coming up. They have split it up because it was quite difficult for people to get an entire 2 weeks off work. So that way you wouldn't have to use all of your paid time off to be able to complete the class. The second thing is you must submit, if you are going for commissioned healer or certified medium, you will need to submit affidavits. Now, your NSAC bylaws say 6 affidavits. And I'm going to tell you, get as many as you can. Because Some of those affidavits will not be approved. Those affidavits are sent to those on the board of directors of the NSAC for review for those who hold that credential. Once those are submitted, along with your application fee and your church board application form, they will be reviewed by each of the board members, and if they are approved, and if you have 6 that are approved, then you may go forward with the testing process. Now, I've had a lot of questions. What makes an affidavit acceptable? When you are going for a certified healer, and you have healing affidavits, and you have people who are sitting in your healing chair, it is not enough for them to put on the affidavit that they felt better after they left your chair. That is not concrete evidence. I know that in our church, what we do is we have our chairperson announce from the platform during the healing class or doing the healing portion that if you've received significant healing from your healer, you may wish to offer them an affidavit because they are a student and they're going through the credentialing process. This is something that is necessary for them to become credentialed. We have had this past convention, we have had extensive teaching on what makes an affidavit be able to be approved by your board. You must be as specific as possible. Hopefully you will have either an ordained minister or somebody who has been involved with the church who can help you fill out that affidavit. I would suggest that you perhaps print some copies or have your church board make some copies so that you can have that available for those. That also goes for certified mediums. You cannot ask for somebody to fill out an affidavit. They must go to somebody in the church and say, can somebody help me fill out this affidavit? Or like I said, if you have them in the foyer or places where they can be accessible by those who are attending the church service, they can pick that up when they leave the church service room. Affidavits need to be, like I said, as specific as possible. I came forward, I had a pain in my left arm. I've been having it for 6 weeks. I did not take a pain pill before I sat down before the healing service. And my shoulder pain is greatly diminished. It went from a 10 to a 4. They need to be as specific as possible, please. If you receive an affidavit from somebody and you don't feel that it will be approved, please see somebody from your church board so that they can assist the patient or the person to fill out the affidavit correctly. Sometimes it's just a matter of knowing what to put on. For the certified medium, as many boxes as that can be checked, the personality of the person, the description, what they did, their passing, all of those things are very important to be included. The more information that you have included on that affidavit, the better your chances are for them to be approved. And I know we don't want to have to keep going through the process of having to keep sending in affidavits, which is fine. I have had some people who have sent in affidavits and they did not have them all approved. And they went back to their church, had some more church services, and then resubmitted more affidavits. Now, I'm going to stop here and pause. Does anybody have any questions? Because that's a very important part of your credentialing process. Wow, y'all must be on fire this morning. No questions. Okay. Oh, I see one. Yes, Joanne.
Just so everyone knows, the applicant writes the check to the church. The church writes a check to the NSAC, and the whole application gets sent directly to the Department of Education.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for that clarification. So your church needs to be the one that submits the check to the Department of Education. And the check from the church will be made out to the NSAC, but you need to submit your application fee to your church. And once they've recorded it, then they can send the check. And then the Department of Education director will then review it. And if everything is correct, we'll forward that check to the NSAC office. Thank you so much, Joanne. Are there any other questions? Please ask now. Okay. All right. 2 of the affidavits must be dated within the year immediately prior to the application date. None earlier than 5 years prior to the date of application. Now, when we were going through, I see you, Louise. When we were going through the COVID, we did make some adjustments with that. But now, you know, we're a few years out, so they need to be dated, and you can send them in. It's just that those who are reviewing the affidavits will notice that the date is out of date. Yes, Louise.
So just for clarification, I hear that the check is made out to the church and the church sends it to the NSAC.
Correct.
Does the applicant send in all their affidavits and everything, or does the church normally send that in? I know how I did it. I just want clarification.
Okay, good question. Yes, you can send all of that. It's going to make it more streamlined if you send all of that information, your grade point average from the Morris Pratt, your certificate of completion from the Morris Pratt, your application, and your affidavits. That way we can start on the process. We're trying to streamline this so we're not having people waiting for a long time to know if they can move forward in the credentialing process.
So I believe, didn't you say that there was also a letter of recommendation required by the church?
Yes, you can include a letter of recommendation from your church. Usually they will do that with the application form. I have had those come together when the application form is there. It does suggest that you send the letter of everything. The more complete you can have your first submission, the easier and quicker the process will go through. Because we all know that you're excited to test. You're excited to go through this process. You've studied very hard and worked very hard. So we do appreciate your ability to send everything in at one time. Good questions. Anybody else? The affidavits also need to be from different people. Can you have the same person come up and sit and give you affidavit, you know, two services in a row? Yes, you can. But we are looking for different people because we want to have evidence of spiritual healing. That is, or spirit greetings. You know, we need to be assured that you have demonstrated, and that is in your bylaws, that you have demonstrated the proficiency of the credential that you are going for. And that is where your church comes in. And if you are looking to be credentialed, please ask your pastoral committee to schedule you for those services so that you can obtain as many affidavits as you can. There's been some comment on who can sign. The affidavits need to be signed at the time that they are given. So if you're filling them out in a church service, You can take them to the pastor, the pastoral committee, your church board. They are welcome to sign that. You also need to sign that, and you need to have it dated. And once again, completion of the application and all of the information will definitely help. And there are 2 signatures that are required on that affidavit. There is a study sheet that is available for each credential that you are going for. Now, I have had some people request the study sheet before they've actually turned in any information. I am happy to do that for you. We do have those available. Please make sure that I have your email address if you are asking for that. My email address is, if you are going through the credentialing process, DEPT, which is an abbreviation for department, .edu at NSAC.org.
Would you repeat that, please?
Yes. DEPT, it's abbreviation for department, .edu for education at NSAC.org. Oh, look at there, and it pops up on your screen in the chat box. How wonderful. There are several parts. Can you clarify who can sign? Yes, your pastor can sign, any missionaries can sign, church or camp board members, pastoral committee people can sign. Those who hold that credential or higher, if you are lucky enough to have a notary in there, a notary is welcome to be one of the signers. Good. And you can also send me a question in the chat if you don't want to raise your hand. So thank you for that. So there are 2 sections that you will need to complete. Once you've completed all that, your affidavits have been approved, everything has been reviewed by the Department of Education and the NSAC board, then you will receive part 2, which is an essay. And you will also receive a questionnaire about owning a spiritualist manual. What type of spiritualist books have you read? What type of spiritualist classes have you attended? Just basic general information and an essay. There are specific criterias for the essay. You need to answer each one specifically, giving as much information as you can, but staying within the word limit. Are there any questions or comments on that? Once I have received your essay back, which is usually done by email. Now you can mail them to me. I will tell you, however, that our mail is a little slow here, and we've all had mail. Sometimes we're still getting Christmas cards and it's the middle of January. So, and those of you who live in snowy climates, I'm sure that does impair your mail delivery. So we typically try to do this, the first portion, by email. So please email that back to me. There is a timeline. There is 45 days that you will need to complete that information. It is open book. You can use your information from your Morris Pratt course. That is welcome. We want you to be able to address each point. Each question has a specific amount of points that are awarded for that portion of the essay. Please make sure that you include all that you have learned. Once again, staying within the word limitation. Your essay will be sent out to the board members who are holding that credential or higher for grading. Once you have remitted that and I have received it back from the board, I will total the grades and let you know if you are able to move forward in the testing process. For commissioned healers and certified mediums, you will have, they all have, and NSTs, ordination, you will have a written examination that will need to be completed. This written examination is to take place at your church. There need to be 3 proctors. The chair of the committee that will be sitting needs to hold the credential for which you are applying for or greater. So if you are going for your certified median exam and you have 2 members of your church or 2 members of your board, the other person can either be an ordained minister, licentiate minister, NST. So it needs to be or certified medium or certified healer if you were going for your healer's credential. So they need to at least hold the credential for which you are applying. Once you have gathered this information, you will email that to me, and I will contact the chair. And you can pick a date and time. I see you, Carol, that you prefer your testing. This does take some time because you have to get all 3 people on the same schedule at the same time. So that can take some time. If you are having difficulty with being able to schedule that, please let me know and I will assist you in any way. Yes, Carol.
And so of the 3 proctors, do they all need to be members of your church?
They should be members of your church. However, we do have missionaries and those people who travel. So if you are unable to, we can have somebody who can travel. If they're in your area, they can travel to be able to be a proctor. And like I said, if you're having trouble scheduling that, if you need a chairperson, because your board should be able to, you should be able to have a couple people from your board or a couple people from your church membership, but we do want people who have at least been a member of your church. If you're having trouble, like I said, if you're having trouble scheduling that because you need a chair, please contact me. I will be your contact information for questions. I know that Joanne and Lorraine are also on here. So if you have other questions and if they can be assistance to you, please let them know. Now, you can also have testing at the NSAC office. So those of you who are near Lilydale, they will be able to provide proctors for you. So if you are close to New York and don't mind the snow, you are welcome to I can contact the NSAC office for you and help you set that up. But you are welcome to test at the NSAC office. Any questions on that portion so far? This is your chance. You can type it in the chat if you want also, but I want to answer all of your questions so you are aware. Now, once you have completed the written exam, it will come back to me. I will once again send that out to the examiners who are on the NSAC board. It will be graded, and then we will send that information to you. Now, in the process of this, because your church is sponsoring you, I will also be sending information to your church. So if you have applied for the certified medium, I will let them know that your affidavits have been approved and that you are moving forward in the testing process. And that way they can help schedule you and get the necessary people for you to complete your written examination. The written examination is also on a timeline. It is 45 days for the written examination. Once you have received it, you will receive a page in there for you to be able to record when you have received it. I, of course, record when I mail it out. Once your exam.
I'm confused about something because this is a proctored exam. So if it's proctored, why is it mailed?
It's mailed to the church secretary or the chair of the credentialing committee.
Okay.
And once the person inside of the testing information, actually the written exam, you will receive from me a sealed envelope that says Patty Connor only written exam. Inside of that envelope will be the written exam and another envelope with the letter that states, please place this exam in this envelope and seal it and sign your name over the seal.
But all this would occur at the testing center.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. It is mailed back to me. It does not matter if you want to mail it or your church wants to mail it. I'm okay with that. I will have a self-addressed envelope in there for you to mail it back. So it doesn't matter whether you mail it or your church mails it. That is fine. Are there any other questions on this section? Okay, so the NST, once you've passed, I will send you a letter to your church and to you that you have passed the credentialing process. I then contact the NSAC board and let them know that you have passed your exam and are eligible to receive your credential. The NSAC board will then vote on it with the NSAC board members, and your credential will be sent to you so that it can be presented in the manner that your church desires. Joanne, please.
I send when everything's passed and I receive the email from Sharon, I send a motion out to the board. Once the board approves it, I put the package together. It gets sent to the church secretary. The church receives the packet. That way they can do the ceremony.
Exactly. Thank you. After all, you worked very hard for your credential, right? And we want you to know how proud we are of you. You do have everybody behind you in the NSAC board. We all want to see everybody do very well and to pass, but we also want to make sure that you are qualified and are representing spiritualism in the highest and the best. Okay. NST and ordained ministers. Once you have met the criteria, you will need to appear in person before the NSAC Board of Trustees or a qualified committee of 3, one of whom will be an NSAC board member for your oral examinations. ordained ministers, and National Spiritualist Teachers. You must appear before the NSAC board. And that is everybody on the board who is, well, the NSA, let me say, the NSAC board will appoint people for your testing. There needs to be at least a committee of 3. One of the NST board members will be appointed for that exam. Yes, Joanne. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you
No,
had.
that's okay. The NSAC board wants you, we hold these exams for the NST and OM at convention. We prefer that you appear before the board at convention. If there's some emergency or extraordinary items or things that come up, yes, the board has an out where we can send the 3 people out. Also for OM, once you receive your LM, there are affidavits necessary before you get to the OM application.
That is correct. And those have to do with your service for the church, the service as a sermon and message bearer and chairperson. It's just a way for your organization to be able to help support you in your credentialing process. And the more experience that you have, the better representative for spiritualism you will be. Having said that, commissioned healers, you must inform yourself of the civil laws and local ordinances and conduct for their healing with the legal interpretation of such laws and ordinances. Now, each and every state, even Florida, we have laws that are governed, and hopefully going through the NSAC or the MPI course, you understand that we are not to diagnose, prescribe, or treat. The NSAC guidelines for commissioned healers are shoulders and above, no rubbing, no patting, none of that. So that all falls under the civil laws in healing for your state. People who have applied and not passed may take the exam 2 more times for a total of 3 times in a year of the initial application. So if your initial application was this month, you have 3 times to be able to sit for that examination. If it falls outside of that time frame, you will need to reapply and go through the process again. Carol, I see your finger up.
Say within 1 year.
That is correct. Now, for the NST exam, there is an essay. There will also be a teaching demonstration, an oral exam, and a written exam. And I know I've had people, oh, I'm so nervous. Your board wants you to pass. They're all very supportive. We just want to make sure that you know the material that is presented by the NSAC so that you can represent spiritualism in the highest possible. Are there any questions? Please, now is your time to ask. Now, I don't know if there's anybody on here who is a member of a state association. The process for that is slightly different. the state association will be able to schedule the proctoring for your exam. We currently have someone who is going through that process. The NSAC is always the one who will grant the credential. The state association cannot grant a credential. Are there any questions? I will also give you my personal email in case you have questions going along the way. I have actually 3 email addresses. So you've got my first one, dept.edu@nsac.org. That is for the Department of Education. My Morris Pratt email is sawatson314@gmail.com. And my personal email is Sharon, SHARON, WATSON 924@gmail.com. If the information that you're requesting or questions that you have contain the NSAC educational process credentialing, please email the department.edu@nsac.org. If your questions pertain to the Morris Pratt course, please use the sawatson314@gmail.com. And of course, my private email is open to help you through any process that you're going through, should you want to email that. I do keep files on each and every person. That is why it is important, if you are going through the credentialing process, that we have record of communications and transactions and the credentialing process. So if it has to do with those, please send that through the Department of Education email. Yes, Patrice.
Okay, so I got your Morris Pratt email. I got your education email. I'm not sure I got your Sharon Watson email.
Okay, it's Sharon Watson, SHARON WATSON 924@gmail.com.
Thanks so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Sorry, I'm writing down this email before it goes away. Okay. Yes, Jackie, I will send that to you for all of them, or just one in particular? All, got it. Okay. Okay. All right. Yes, Carol.
I had just put it in the chat. So for online churches, are the affidavits the same and the witnessing process the same? How is that done online?
Oh, good questions. Okay. We have currently updated the healing portion, or in the process of completing the healing portion affidavits. It is slightly different because obviously you're not in person. There are ways, and I know James will be speaking about our technical computer issues, things on how to get things signed, but there are ways to have those signed through the computer. You can also print that out. If you have a printer, you are able to have them e-signed. You can attach a note on the date that the affidavit was received. There are many different ways that you can have those affidavits from a Zoom service. And I know James is going to get into that a lot because he is our technical advisor. And is much more suited to be able to answer those technical questions than I. Are there any other questions? Okay. So our next presenter will be the Reverend Janice Highwart. She is an ordained minister, National Spiritualist Teacher. She is a member of the Golden Rule Spiritualist Church. She is also a missionary. And those of you who were able to attend our convention this past year will have heard her speak. I know that she's going to be giving us lots of information on how to study. There will be information on a booklet that has been compiled by our NSAC secretary, which I encourage you all to get because it is awesome on teaching and learning styles. It is on the NSAC website, nsac.org. The cost of this book is only $6, so it's pretty affordable. And you can never have less information, right? You can only have more. It is number 4741. And I know that Janice will be talking about that in her presentation today. So at this time, Janice, take it away.
Well, good afternoon, everyone from the East Coast. And it's wonderful to see each and every one of you here. I'd like to speak to you about several things, actually. You know, many of us came into spiritualism and we were so taken over by the excitement of finding a home finally, of finding a group of people that were like-minded and of wanting to become so much more within that community that um, we just went gung-ho. And I was one of those people. I absolutely bought right into it from the very beginning. I don't mean that to sound as a negative aspect. I mean it to sound as I was absolutely committed to be the person that would do so many things for our church. So when I decided to take the MPI course, my goal was to go for all of the credentials. I did this while working full time, having a child, so many things, as everybody has those life responsibilities that they need to take care of. Now, I wasn't actually interested in the title. I had got several titles from my medical career, and it wasn't that aspect of it. The aspect that I was going for was how could I be the best person for our church community that I would be serving. And so I was interested in what we as the church could do to support our members, to promote our church internally and externally, and to encourage our members to also become credentialed through the NSAC, completing the MPI course and competing in the mystic market, which would be your community of mediums and healers, both at the church and as a means for them to be able to support themselves as well. I finished MPI just prior to COVID, and I was tested online for my ordained minister credentials, but had to wait to take the NST at the convention. that delay gave me a lot of anxiety. So please, when they tell you, get your information in and make sure everything is correct and perfect when you send it in, do that. Because at the time you test for your ministerial, you can also test for the NST, which is only a few more questions, and have both exams out of the way. So it was difficult for me to prepare when I had to go through copious amounts of notes and MPI material, and then serving in so many capacities in my personal life left very little time for that. The church that I was with, of course, there were issues with COVID, and I ended up leaving that church. So I had to find another church that would then sponsor me to be able to take those tests. And I love my new spiritualist family with all of my heart. And I love serving in capacities that have allowed me to meet so many wonderful people from across the entire United States. I've developed deep friendships as we grow as spiritualists. And without these credentials, which I am truly grateful for, I couldn't still serve my home group and others, but it would not convey the level of commitment to spiritualism that remains at the core of my being. As such, I've chosen to speak to you about study techniques and achieving your goals that you've set for yourself. Many have come to spiritualism later in life, just as I did, and we've been blessed with younger individuals now joining our ranks. In the Michigan State Spiritualist Association, the Children's Youth Lyceum is alive and well. Each spring at the state convention, the children and the teens provide our religious service. Each child has a part, and with the loving assistance of the Lyceum instructor, they proceed from invocation to benediction. The eldest member of this Lyceum is in her late teens, and this young lady is an amazing writer. Her inspirational speeches are wonderful. Her potential within this organization is unlimited, as is yours. You would not be attending this lecture if you had not considered your own potential among the ranks of credentialed workers. And I will not sugarcoat the amount of work you will need to do, nor the dedication to achieving your goals. Each step, each chapter of MPI's correspondence course. I'll tell you that you will be fully supported on this plane and from the spirit plane. My lecture, as well as Sharon's attendance here and James, is the beginning of the support that you will receive from the NST Club. Finding that study techniques that work best for you, that may be a little more difficult. The techniques that I use began in grade school, actually, and have carried me through college and other related educations in nursing and in respiratory therapy. They've carried me through job changes, new and unrelated jobs, and many, many other aspects of life. As I read, I generally take notes. If there are lectures, I write notes on those as well. And on review, I combine those notes together, usually by rewriting the text in one color and the lecture in another. So you can see I'm a bit obsessive about how I learn, how I study. If it's a subject I'm particularly interested in, then I categorize my notes on index cards. Not your everyday recipe style card, but the very large 4x8 card. I have a particular box that's devoted to just the pioneers. I have a smaller index cards with section notes from each chapter of the MPI. And I have others that are on the principles, the definitions, the philosophy, I pull them out every once in a while because even as an ordained minister, it's always good to review. I have handwritten and typewritten notes within my MPI binders directly behind the lessons, and I have digital notes on my computer. I even have spreadsheets with free books that are required reading for MPI. To meet the demands of the education that you are seeking means that you need to be creative and you need to know yourself very well. My process, which I call the 8 R's, read, write, review, research, rephrase, reorganize, review, record, whether it's on PowerPoint or via digital recorder, may not be right for you. But if you look online, there are several suggestions as to the types of study methods that most people utilize in everyday life. So if you type in study methods in Google, you'll find one that's called spaced repetition. Basically, that's what I do. I just didn't realize what it was until I looked it up. This would be reviewing information weekly or monthly, in which has been proven to enhance the retention of information. Another method is called mind mapping. And when you look at it, it looks very much like something from the ID channel or some crime series in which they take the central topic and then they take yarn and push pins and they mark out different areas where these things connect. I'm not that visual of a person, so that doesn't work for me. But if you truly learn by that type of visual aspect, that would be what you would want to use. Another is called the SQ3R, and it's a mnemonic. Mnemonics are just little special words that we utilize to trigger that retained memory. So in something in everyday life would be PDQ. If I look at you and I say, I need this and I need it PDQ, then you know I'm saying I need this pretty darn quick. But it can be a variety of things. There are methods to remember the nerves in the brain. And it's just the saying that goes on old Olympus, tiny tot. And it goes on from there so that you can correlate that with O is for olfactory, that, and so on down the line. The SQ3R means survey, question, read, recite, and review. So instead of actually reading through the entire lesson that you're working on, you would then scan over it, find out the important topics that are contained within it, and then in your mind, think of the questions that you want answered. Once you read it, then you address the question that you've written down. You can craft your own questions. You write the questions on one side and the answer on the reverse. So if you're using little flashcards, and James has got wonderful flashcards that he has developed, then you write your question, you read your question, and before you turn that over, you have a piece of notebook paper and you write down the answer as you recall it. Then you turn it over to validate that. This gives you an added benefit of seeing your progress as you go through your courses. The last item I saw online was one called PQ4R, which is just the SQ3R with an added element. And everything about these has to do with setting up your time, being prepared to study, having a dedicated space for that study. Make sure you get adequate sleep. If you're going to snack, while you're studying, make it healthy snacks, make it nuts or apples. You need to hydrate because your brain is 85% water. It needs as much hydration as it possibly can get. When you have a designated study time, do not waver from it. Because once you start to waver, you're going to allow yourself to do that from that point forward. Set your goals and stay on course as much as you possibly can. You can also play calm classical music. It's been proven that the Baroque music of the classical period is very helpful in bringing about a calm mind, and it improves your attentiveness. Mozart's Sonato for 2 pianos is primarily recommended, as it seems to induce the best of this enhancement of your brain function. So always make sure to eliminate distractions, and always, if you become fatigued, don't rely on candy or coffee or anything of that. Get up and move. You could do a few minutes of yoga between then and when you return back to your studying. But you need to break as well, because you cannot just power through. There is no way any of us can. Juggling these things and trying to live your life at the same time, it's difficult. But the rewards that you will receive once you've obtained your credentialing are worth every minute that you will spend. Joanne's book is very enlightening. It talks about teaching methods. It speaks of the types of teachers that there are. So you have the teacher, you have the facilitator, you have the coach, and in each of these aspects, it tells us about the style of teaching that's going on. Each of us teach differently as well. And if you're going for the full credential, then you need to understand this while you're studying for the NST. It also speaks about classrooms and how you set them up for a particular type of educational experience. Do you want study groups? Do you want individual attention on the teacher, which would use a horseshoe-shaped setup for the chairs? Do you want the classical schoolroom setup? Each has their advantage and each has their disadvantage. And Joanne explains this very well within that little book. It's only a few pages. It only takes about probably a 35, 40-minute read, but it's got a lot of information. She also cites a lot of research that has gone on, and the research indicates that people need to have an individualized aspect of teaching based on their needs. Now, we all understand this. We have children who are in classes who may be autistic, and they require a different aspect of learning. If they're highly functioning autistic, they truly need something that is sometimes more tactile, sometimes more visual. If you have someone with ADHD, they're going to have difficulty in your class. Some people have issues as far as vision or hearing. So we need to accommodate all of these different aspects. And we also need to keep in mind that they're human beings in bodies that are constantly functioning while they're sitting in that classroom for 8 hours a day. So they need breaks. They need food. They need interaction. Teaching is an extremely personal experience. And in doing so, you're going to highlight your personality, your experience, as well as all of these materials that you've learned to be able to educate others, increase their excitement about what they're going to be doing and learning. Understand that people learn best when they not only see and hear it, but hands on. There are percentages noted in her book in which when you add the hands-on application, it significantly increases the retention of the material that's being provided to them. There is no one size fits all. There is no written rote as to how you teach. I like to use a lot of humor in my education because it breaks the monotony of just hearing me talk. When I was in high school, I had the worst history teacher who spoke in monotone. We would learn about the War of 1812, and he would be up there going, "The War of 1812 was fought in 1812. We were all falling asleep in class. You have to engage. You have to make it interesting. You have to be you. You don't want to be so lackadaisical that you lose control of the group and they start on offshoots of conversation. But you don't want to be so hard-nosed that people just get turned off. So I highly recommend Joanne's book. It gave me a great deal of insight. I highly recommend that you look into methods in which you can study both singly and with a group, because that interaction that you get in a group setting provides insights that you may not have thought of. If you have several people in your church who are attending Morris Pratt, so much the better for you, because you have an entire cheering platform. Each of you should be cheering the other on. And know that we, as the NST Club, cheer you on. We expect you to pass. We expect you to be the next generation of NSTs and ministers and healers and mediums, because every single one of you has such potential. We see it shining in your faces when we meet you. We hear it in your voices when we speak to you. When we have side conversations at convention, we see those people and their goals quite clearly. So I congratulate each of you on your new adventure, and I will turn this back to Miss Sharon.
Thank you so much. It is important, you have to find out how you study. Some people are visual, some people listen, some people like flashcards, some people just like notes. It's important. Thank you, Janice. I know we received very good information from you. Next presenter will be James Bae. He is an ordained minister, National Spiritualist Teacher. Recently, so he's just been through this process. So I know that he has some information that will be very helpful to you. Let's see here. He is a member of the Celebrate Life in San Francisco. He is on the board of trustees at the church, and he is the chair of pastoral committee. I know that he will provide us. He is my technical go-to person, along with Joanne and those who are in the office, because I have gone kicking and screaming into this age of computers. So I know that he is very well versed in all things computer, and he will be teaching you on many different things. I am trying to, there we go. Okay, so James, please take it away.
Thank you, Sharon, and thank you, Janice, and thank you for everyone for being here today. Like Sharon said, I recently went through the examination process for both ordained minister and NST. Prior to that, licensed minister. So yes, and like some of us here, and I know there's quite of us that started this process some years ago, right? Um, and we had this great inspiration, and we took the time to start this process, Morris Pratt Institute education course, representing spiritualism. But you know, like all of us, we have family duties, we have work full time, we have life in general. So sometimes that, oh, I'll read that book next week or tomorrow. That tomorrow becomes next week. That next week becomes month. And next thing we know, that's become years. And I know some of us have done that, and I have. And it's good to have a partner who's also studying, so you can kind of share notes and give a chance to kind of compete and just kind of be inspiration to each other. That helped me. But one of the things that have helped me was when I first started to spiritualize myself through certain aspect of things that happened in my life that I wanted to learn. I want to absorb like sponge. And when I found out about this education course, it was great. So I started the process, but like I said, I put behind and I got behind. And it wasn't until that I asked a question: why am I doing this? For what purpose? And then I've sat with that question for quite a bit, actually, for months. And it wasn't until I asked, having conversation with my guides, my spirit, my ancestral spirits, and then until I had that question and conversation with spirit, that I was like, okay, I'm ready. And I wanted to share a story that one time, one weekend, I was tired, probably on the couch watching Netflix or something, YouTube, and then I had this pile of courses, printed materials, lessons. Back then, when I started, we had printed lessons, and it was on my dining table, and literally, if it's a couple of lessons just came falling off from the dining table, and I just like, okay, I'm ready. I hear you. So it wasn't until that I'm ready, fully ready to be the ambassador to the spirit world, that I know that I'm doing this for, that I really was on the roll to do this. Now I want to share a slide before I talk about what I want to share, because I think it's important that we do have. All right, so some of you can see this. So use of technology. So I know Janice talked about studying habits and studying tools, but there are some study tools that are really helpful. I know that everybody has different tools and types and techniques, but I want to review a few things, and I'll actually show you what I mean. So first of all, we've said this already. If you go to nsac.org, go to bookstore, there are a catalog of books, CDs, materials, posters, things that are important to NSAC for the MPI studies. All the books are there. There are online resources that are digital, which I will show you. In a minute, I will show you from our website, Celebrate Life website. We have digitalized all the MPI courses, all the archives, all the PDF books, historical books. Those are linked on a link, so I'll show you that. Also, I will also want to show you for study tools, there are flashcards that you can purchase from NSAC. I highly recommend getting these flashcards. There are little index cards that have questions and answers on the back. They're categorized by the definition, spiritualism in general, and things like that. Now, that is good, but there are also digitalized online version of flashcards. Now, I myself created, I know some people have, created an online digitalized version of flashcards by typing all the questions and all the answers. And the very important app that I like to recommend is Quizlet. Quizlet, Quizlet. It is a free app. There's a paid version that has all the bells and whistles, but you don't need all that. Now, since I have my account Quizlet, this is a shared app that you guys can come into my Quizlet and look at my flashcards and study because I've already created. And I'll show you in a minute. So this flashcard Quizlet has this app has like there's a memorization, there's reviews, and you can pass to the left if you memorize it, pass to the right, and then if you missed it, and then it will review all the missed ones again. So it's a great tool and repetitive, like Janice said. It's a repetitive memorization and things like that that will get you through. Now, for some of us, I drive to work a couple of days. I drive 1 hour in traffic. I have it on audio tape. I can't say tape. It's audio file. So what I did was I recorded all this instead of typing. I recorded all the questions and answers, and I made a file, audio file, which I will show you. It's in my Drive, Google Drive. For those of you who are interested, I will share that. You have to listen. You have to, if you like listen to my voice for 4 hours, then I will share that with you, and I'll show you how to do that. So these are all the good tools that you have. Now, like I said, it wasn't until that I digitalize and have it audio that I was really, really ready and pushing myself on a daily basis, literally. And that's what I did. Let me just stop share here. So let me just go back and show you some of the other stuff that I have on the, okay, give me 1 second. Where are they? Just give me 1 second. All right, here it is. I want to show you, I shared this website. There we go. So you guys can see this. Here's a website for NSAC. Now, if you go through publications, you go to bookstore, I just want to show you where it is. So we have all the CDs, DVDs, and all the books. There's also a physical place you can go there, but not many of us can't go. So these are all the books that Sharon was talking about. These are catalog numbers, and there's a price here. And these are the books, all the books that you have. Look how much of information the books there is. And you can scroll down, there are CD version, and you can click the link up here to go to directly to CDs. And there are CDs and services, and you can buy, purchase. So you can email NSAC, I'll show you up here. You can email NSAC bookstore at nsac.org, the book titles, and I guess the best way is to using a check to amount of books that's on here, and then you can send that out, or you can call NSAC Bookstore direct. Sometimes you have to leave a message, and they're good about returning situations like that. So this is the NSAC.org, which is a great resource. Now let me show you another. So this is a CelebrateLifeSF.org up here. CelebrateLifeSF.org. What we did was we compiled and digitalized some of these resources. So if you go to home here page, and there's a digital library. So if you click on the digital library, lo and behold, we have all the Morris Pratt MPI lesson 1. Here's the book, lesson 2, lesson 4, 5, 6. These are all the recommended books and required readings that are digitalized books. Now, some of the required books and recommended books are older archive. They're older historical books. Not all of them are going to be in print at a bookstore. But if you click on this link here, it will take you to archive PDF books. So you can make this bigger, but you can kind of scroll through, and there's all the books here that you can go through. Now, and some of the links are unlinked because there is a copyrighted laws on some of the books. But most of this, I would say most of these books, you can click on it and you can, like this one is, this one has PDF file. So, so these are all on a PDF format. You can come back to here all the time and look at it. Some of the PDF files are huge, so it takes some time to load up. But these are all the MPI lessons all the way through 30. So I recommend we took some time to digitalize all this on this Celebrate website. So this is a great help. Let me just go here. Now, I want to show you a Quizlet that I was telling you about. So this is a Quizlet. You can go to Quizlet.com and you could create an account with a password. And so on my, you can search for my Quizlet by using my email. I will show you how to do that. Now, if you come to my folders, which I have to share the folder with you guys, there's a Morris Pratt Institute items. You can click on this. It's like a flashcard, but it's digitalized flashcards. So if you click on that, you will see, where is it? Why is it not working? Oh, okay, here it is. So I've separated by the index card. Yeah, the way it comes in, it's separated by a category: definition, NST unique, spiritualism, people, general, NSAC. Let me just show you what this looks like. So here's a first, what is apport? Bonus question, what is a biblical example of, what is a biblical example of apport? Now, if I click on this space right here, voila, apport is spring by spirit. Spirit passes matter through matter by active willpower. These are definitions. Now, to study again, or if you know the answer. So if you study, if you're not sure, you can go study again, and it will save this pile into restudy. So this flashcards will bring back the ones that you want to study again, because you don't want to study the ones that you already know or memorize. Okay, so, and you can track progress, and you cannot, and then you can just go back. Got it. So once again, you can keep going and next, and then click on yes, next question, what is aura, and then click here, there are answers here. So this is a really helpful digitalized version. Now, I don't think this replaces the actual physical index cards, because I like to look at physical index cards and flip them back and forth. But this is something that you can use when you don't have the physical cards. Maybe you're at work and taking a lunch break and you want to do this. So this is a great help. So this is a Quizlet. So for those of you, just go to Quizlet.com and create an account, and then send me an email, and then I'll show you how to connect with my Quizlet. All right, next, audio files. Now, audio files, I have it uploaded on the Spotify, because I have Spotify in my car. I don't know if, I grew up in the days where I had cassette tapes in the car. Nobody has cassette tapes. I mean, most cars don't have CD thing either. But Spotify is a music thing people have, and you can upload your own music files, libraries, create libraries and stuff like that. Or these are on my Google Drive. So if people are interested in this audio files, you can send me an email. I will connect you to my Google file. So you can, I will give you a permission to go into this folder, which is NSAC MPI audio files. So, so these are the audio files that I will connect you to share that with you. Let me just see what others that I want to share with you. Give me 1 second. There is a, give me 1 second, MPI lessons. I actually want you to hear MPI. Give me 1 second. I'm looking for the audio files. Okay, MPI questions. Ah, here it is. Okay. Study guide for licentiate ministers examination. I'm gonna share audio. Okay. What is anthropomorphic? Computer audio. So of human being now, can you guys hear with this? A personality described using human attributes. Who grants and denies requests, holds the scales of judgment, reward and punishment. For spiritualists, writing 10 parapsychologists identify content ultimate source for all. So anyway, I just wanted to let you hear some clips of that. So I have this audio files categorized by LM because if you have, by the way, before your examination, you will get a study guides. So that what study guides is, it's a sheet of papers of the index cards, what you need to know, because you don't have to know everything, because they separated by LM exam. So there are suggested study guides. So I have the audio files according to that study guides category. I also have NST audio files just for the NST study guides, what are recommended. So I have 4 different audio files, LM, NST, OM, or 3. So those are separated. Now, so though you can also get, besides flashcards, you need to get study guides from NSAC. I think they will, if I'm not mistaken, I think they will provide that through to you automatically before the examination. So these are some of the tools that help me, and hopefully it will help you, whether if you're driving, you're at work, you need to look at it. So these are the stuff that really pushed me on a weekly basis that I have, because I have it readily available. Now I have flashcards laying out in my living room, my bedroom, on my desk. They're all over the place. You know, having there and looking at them really helps. It's like, oh, I got to do this. I got to, you know, after dinner, I'm tired, but I got to do this. So like Janice said, have a plan on a weekly, if you can do it daily, from evening hours, from like 8 to 9, 1 hour, set aside and make sure that you set aside and have a plan. Otherwise, you're just going to put it behind. Tomorrow becomes next week becomes next month very easily. We've all been there. So have a plan like that. Or if daily is impossible, maybe on weekend, set aside a time, like a couple hours or hour on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, and go through reading materials and exams. And if, like I said, if you have a friend or two who is doing the same thing, you know, write them an email, call, discuss. That really helps, and because it helps to push you forward. All these tools and you know, goal-oriented things that you do. Otherwise, you're just gonna put it behind because, you know, life's gonna take over, and then next thing you know, it'll be years before you actually do it. Now, I also wanted to let you know before I end it that you know, I wanted to share a little story, because I asked before my examination process, I asked Sharon, I said, "Hey Sharon, give me some, you know, details of what the exam's gonna be like," because I already knew and she already discussed. But one thing that she said was, "You know, I know you're great, and then Spirit will guide you. Ask for Spirit's guidance." And I'm thinking to myself at the time, it's like, okay, I need numbers, I need dates, I need quantity, I need details, right? But in hindsight, after the examination was done and everything's all done, I look back, that was probably the best advice I ever gotten. Because in your busy life, we have all these material things, work, life, family. But sometimes we neglect speaking and talking to spirit, our guides, our spirit, our ancestral loving ones. Ask them, have conversation with them. Once you do that, once you are determined, they're not going to leave you alone. They're going to really push you. And then it's become a team oriented plan. You and your guides and your spirit and ancestral loved ones. And, so I think for me, that was my experience. Um, once I made, once I answered why I want to do this, to serve, become the ambassador of the spirit. And I had a conversation with my mom in spirit, who was a teacher when she was young, teaching in some rural, remote mountainside for a couple of years, teaching children. So she was my guide. And just before going to the examination, and which I'll tell you a little bit about the convention examination style, I told my mom, Mom, let's do this. And I felt so good walking in. And then when I walked in, I saw all these faces of the board members in NSAC, and I'm like, oh my God, what have I got myself into? I got really nervous. But Janice and Sharon, they're right. They're really, it wasn't a, I quickly found out once I started the examination process that I can trust the board members, these people. They're really there to help you. They're not there to cut you or make it wrong, you're wrong. There's a one question that, that came up that I knew, but, I had to give definition and written definition according to as it was set for MPI. And I couldn't remember. It was just, it went out. and every one of them asked me and they tried to help me and asked me this way and this way and this way. They really did try to help me to the end. So they'll be there for you. Getting to convention like a day before, I think whenever the exam time is, I took my course NST exam and OM exam together, many hours. And maybe that might not be for you that way, but I did it that way. But in the end, they became literally my spiritual friends and my friends because they're really there to help you. And I'm here to help you too. So if you have any questions or, I'll post my phone numbers and emails, just give me a holler or email me and it will, go through that together. So hopefully all of you are on board with this. And so thank you for having me. And you can always ask me questions and things like that. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll pass it over to Sharon.
Thank you so much. It is, it is just so wonderful to have so many in the NSAC who are willing to support you and help you and really want you to be conventional. And like James said, the board isn't trying to trip you up or make you wrong. They really are there for you. They really understand the process because they all went through the same process. So they have understanding of that. So I am going to,
I think if I may, Sharon,
yes,
address something. So online affidavits. So I know there are some discussions about signatures and things like that. I've had experience as myself through our church. We're not there physically, so we're all on this online portal. And I believe that the best thing is to have an actual printout of the affidavits. If you don't have a printer, ask your church to mail it to you. Okay. So what you do is you fill it out, and nowadays our phones are so great that you can actually take a photo, and that photo can turn into PDF file from your phone. But if you don't even know that how to do PDF conversion, it's okay. Take a photo, JPEG, and text that photo to one of the church members and people who have printer, so they can print out and they can send it to the people who also need to sign. So through that process, I know it's through that process, online Zoom, that I think it may work. Now, for some people, you might have a PDF, advanced PDF app that we can fill in and sign online digitally, but many of us do not have that function and capabilities. So I recommend just taking a photo from your phone and just sending it to people who can print it, your church secretary, your pastor, and of that, and they can also sign it and then add on to it. So that's how I do it. Thank you.
Thank you, James. All right, so I am going to review some of these questions here. Please post James' email so we may request files, so James will be able to post that. I think James talked about the online address. The suggestion was to be creative, use different colors of ink or highlighters. So we've had a lot of good information in this class. Does anybody have any questions? Carol.
So if somebody started the old version of MPI before it went online and they wanted to pick up, like if they'd taken a break, would they need to complete the older version, or should they switch to the new version, or what's your experience with that?
Most of the examiners, thank you for that question. Most of the examiners have the ability to access the old course. Some people go through the course and they do a lesson at a time. So if you've been on the old lessons and it's been a while since you've taken a course and you want to re-enroll, first of all, just contact Ashley at the Morris Pratt Institute. We will be glad to get you going again. I know those people who have become inactive for 90 days tend to fall off the schedule, but we'll always help you the best that we can. Isn't that terrible? Have you ever done that? You just forgot? Oh my word. Okay. Okay, so I'm human too. Okay. So we have the ability to access either class, either coursework. We are in the process of recompiling the Morris Pratt course. It is a tedious process and we have some of it rewritten, but not all of it. So we are in that process of doing that. If you have questions or problems with your lesson, if you'd like, you can email your examiner. There are currently 3 of us right now. The Morris Pratt Institute is extremely busy. Can't tell you how many new students we've had recently enroll. So it is a very busy course. We are promoting it throughout a lot of the different venues. We've had people from all over the country wanting to take this course. So yes, depending upon which version you have, we will be able to grade whichever version you are using. If you'd like the updated version, if you have completed your MPI course, I believe there will be a charge. You'll have to talk with Ashley because once again, that is if they're going to mail it out to you, if you want it in paper form, there would be a charge for that. We will be updating the portions of the course, and once they are available, we will be starting to send those out, but we are just in the beginning process right now. So this is going to take some time. Did that answer your question? Ashley's number.
So if they're like halfway through the course and they want to switch to digital because they think it'd be easier, can they switch midway or they have to start?
Yeah. Yes, you absolutely can go digital. We have Quick Schools, which is our, I'm not familiar with the technical term, but it's our platform that we're using. There have been some issues. If you can just let Ashley know, she is working very closely with Quick Schools to clear up those issues, but I think everybody has pretty much got that down now on submitting. It is a lot quicker. It allows us to get your grades back to you more quickly. Typically, the grader takes no more than 1 to 2 weeks to grade a lesson. And we get those right back, and it is recorded so that you can see your grade point average, you can see your grades. We have had to do an additional step by actually, it used to automatically go back when we would hit return, it would automatically go back to the student, but now we are taking that extra step and just compiling an email with the graded lesson attached. So you will have that information in your corrections so that you can study the correct information for your testing. Good question. Thank you. Ashley's number.
I was gonna say, it's Ashley, I don't know who Ashley is. She's with MPI or?
Yeah, she is the Morris Pratt. She's the office administrator. Their number is 414-774-2994. And she's real good with the computer and able to help people navigate through that. I know she's helped quite a few people get online, and if they were having problems. And all right. Okay, so we got that. James put that in. Are there any other questions?
Yes, hi, I'm Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, I want to piggyback on Carol's question. Thank you, Carol, for bringing that up. That is also pertains to me. I got very emotional listening to James' presentation. I've just felt like it was speaking to me. I joined a little late this morning. I apologize. And I've had this on my calendar all, to looking forward to this session. I am one of those who are grandfathered in from the old paper base. I've had my first lessons in 2001, 24 years ago. And for various reasons, the universe conspired to intervene, and I just never got to complete them. There was no support. I didn't have a tester. I didn't have anyone follow up with me, encouragement, anything. So this group I'm having an emotional response because I feel so much support from this group, something that we didn't have 25 years ago. I didn't get an assigned tester, so I never got any feedback on how to get over those stumbling blocks. I also started again in 2011, and as you see, so I have the full course, and I'd be one of those who need to segue into the new format. So my question is, has the course changed? How do I transition if I have the old course?
You are welcome. Now, I have a couple of people who do not have access to computers. They do not have access to the internet. So they have actually used those old written courses and mailed them to their examiner. And that's fine. And we can grade them via paper and send them back. I've had somebody who actually went to a library to complete her courses so that she could have the ability to do it online. You are welcome to use your written coursework, or you can contact Ashley at MPI and she can get you in touch with how to get onto the Quick Schools platform.
I would prefer the online. I found the written dreadful. There was no offense to those who don't have access to digital and prefer paper-based, but there was a huge barrier to completion. And the instructions were double space, rewrite the question. I mean, it was awful.
Yes, we still have some guidelines still, but it's so much easier online now because the questions are printed out. You can just answer underneath. It is just, Digital technology, what can I say? James is shaking his head, so he knows. So
Yes.
absolutely, you can contact Ashley at the Morris Pratt office. Did you get her number? Does anybody need me
yes.
to repeat it? Okay.
you.
She can help you get online. And like I said, it's a lot quicker than mailing. You know, mailing takes, 2-3 weeks minimal.
Thank you. I really appreciate this, all the support. Thank
You're
you.
welcome back. And if you have any questions or any problems, you're always welcome to contact me also.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions? I don't see any hands. I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for coming. Your input, your energy, your ability to want to move forward in the credentialing process it's very touching. It's very touching, and we are here to support you. And Joanne has her hand up, so
Just before you conclude, I just want to let everybody know that the NSAC board has heard everybody. And if you go to the nsac.org website, click on the classes and seminars. The NSAC, starting in February, is doing a slew of online classes and seminars, all via Zoom, all via Eventbrite. So check it out. It's constantly changing. We're constantly adding stuff. So there's a lot of information out there for you.
thank you. Thank you. And it is a wonderful source. If you've never been to the NSAC website, oh, please go. It has been updated. It is full of so much information. It is so professional looking. It's a wonderful source of information for you. nsac.org. Yes, James.
So I'm also on the social media committee, and starting this year, we're going to revamp our social online presence, starting with our own NSAC official website. Because right now we have an NSAC online page, but we're going to have an official Facebook page where you can go through, like what Joanne was talking about, to find these informations. We're also created our own YouTube channel, NSAC YouTube channel, that is going to be main channel that we're able to disseminate information through that way. We're going to have people's interviews, board members, topics like this. It's going to be uploaded, and we're going to have NST clubs there and things like that. So yeah, we're getting there.
How wonderful it is to have somebody who's so technically advanced to help us through that. Yes, Lorraine.
Also on the NSAC website, we have archives. So you can go back and research a lot of the subjects that you're looking at. There's articles in the Banner of Light and the old TNS magazines. There's tons of new information that is on this new website.
It is really nice. If you have not visited, I'm just encourage you to do so. It is your organization's website. It truly is yours, and it is for you to use. There's so much information out there, and I know you have support of all the NSAC board, the Department of Education, Morris Pratt. There are many different places that you can look for assistance should you need. Very good. Thank you. All right, this will conclude our class. Thank you so much. We will continue to offer more classes. The NSAC clubs are becoming more active, so be watching for your emails. Our social media presence will be sending those out to you. Once we start having those classes take place, I think we're just slowly starting to get over the holidays. Oh, somebody has a question, but they can't raise their hand. Georgiana, yes. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you so much. I am so sorry. My husband and he's on here too. He's Eric, and we very new to this, very, very, very new. And I'm just wanting a timeline clarification. So what we would do now is we've been attending a church here locally for about a year, and or it's been longer than that, probably 2 or 3 years. Actually, sorry, I'm a little nervous. We're looking at joining their membership now. So in the future, do we have to wait 2 years from that to enroll in Morris Pratt, or would we, can we do that together, do the 2
Yes,
years and then, so once we're done with the course of study that we choose, then we would start the credentialing process.
that is correct. Yes,
Oh,
the first step is you must be a member of a church for 2 years before you even turn in your application. So that is the perfect time for you to get started in your church. Start taking the classes, go through the Morris Pratt. You can do that congruently. It does not matter. The only part that has stipulations on it is the actual credentialing process, which
good.
requires,
Okay, it was just that timeline I was unsure of. So I didn't know if we had to wait 2 years as a member and then start the coursework. Or we can start the coursework when we can. So
that is absolutely true. And I know Ashley would be glad to hear from you on Monday morning to get you started in the class. And you can do, you can do monthly payments. You can purchase a section at a time. So they're very amiable about working with you with cost and that type of thing.
excellent. Thank you. And thank you for this course this day. It was really very informative. Thank you.
Good. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Okay, well, thank you all for attending. We appreciate you. If there's any questions, please feel free to contact Janice, myself, James, our NSAC board. We've had several NSAC board members on here, our treasurer, Lorraine Radice, Joanne Santanacito, our NSAC secretary. Please make sure that you connect with somebody. Don't just wallow. If you need help, get help from somebody. Oh, and Louise Barkdahl. She is also a trustee on our national board. I think I've hit all the board members. So thank you so much. Keep watching your emails. We will continue to keep you informed of upcoming classes. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to have you. Blessing on everybody.
Thank
And
you,
this will be
everybody.
this is recorded, so we'll have that on somewhere, so for you to have a copy. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Take care. Have a good Sunday or Saturday. We're still on Saturday. My brain is in Sunday, but my body is in Saturday. All right. Take care. Thank you so much.